Hello everybody, Adam here. Just a quick note before we start to say, we have some very good news. We have hit our first Patreon funding goal. That means that the basic running costs of the show, such as hosting, are all now paid for entirely by your generous donations. And we especially want to shout out and thank our new patrons, Ash L and Heather T. Thank you very, very much for your support. We really appreciate it. Right, enough from me. Let's get straight into it. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Do you have abilities that you cannot explain? Do bad things happen when you get angry? Are you alone simply because of your freakish powers? Don't be alone. The Galactic Empire needs you. Visit one of our friendly re-education centers today. Be part of a family again. The Galactic Empire.
Hi, my name is Ed Fortune, and I will be your Games Master for today's episode of Shadows of the Jedi. I am joined by my lovely players, because if I wasn't joined by my lovely players, you'd just be listening to me talking nonsense for 45 minutes and no actual plot. As they introduce themselves, I'm going to ask a question, which is from the point of view of Destiny. After all, the game is called Force and Destiny. Why you?
Hi, my name's Mim, and I play Roy, the B1 battle droid. He has a specialisation in bodyguard and a career as a hired gun, and an obligation of 40 to the Bar family. Why me? Well, Roy's got a very simple way of viewing it. You're either on or off. It either is or isn't, so it was a 50-50 chance, really. Math.
My name's Adam. I'm playing Tychus Bar, a Basilisk Sentinel Artisan. My emotional strength is my bravery, and my emotional weakness is my recklessness. Tychus doesn't believe in destiny, or fate, or anything like that. Predetermination. No, it's all bunkum. Why is he here? Because Bracker the Hutt was rounding up anyone he possibly could, and he picked a bad night to go for a drink. That's all it is. Happenstance.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Dr. Smix Karam Danelawa, a Syrian consular healer, whose emotional strength is his compassion, but weakness is his obstinacy. Smix thinks kind of like Bar at this point, like Tigers. We got kidnapped, we got press ganged into this. This wasn't really... If there's if there was choice involved in this, it's not really apparent.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I'm playing Kay, the human warrior starfighter ace. My emotional strength is my compassion, but my emotional weakness is my hatred. And Ed, I don't think we're a group greatly of destiny, because Kay doesn't really believe in it either. The reason Kay is here is because he's still running away from his past. Well, his destiny, if you like. So he is trying his best to be as far away from possible from anything that might cause... Well, actually, I'm doing a really bad job of it, because he's right in the middle of what he doesn't want to be.
On the world of Cynabale, there aren't much in the way of mystics or fortune tellers, but there is a tradition, as it were. One of Cynabale's many moons was once not a moon, it was once an industrial port, built into rock, built on top of itself, much like the world itself. And this gateway to the planet has long since become a floating hunk of junk that every once in a while malfunctions and jettisons parts of itself into the atmosphere. The resulting fireworks display is beautiful, and the wise and the gullible say that during these times something wonderful can occur. Typically what it means is a large amount of salvage will land on the planet, which from certain perspectives is definitely wonderful. Before we start, and because we are at an appropriate, exciting point in the story, I think it's time for us to do Force Dice and also Obligation Rolls.
I have 2 light side points.
1 dark side from me.
1 dark side from me.
And 1 light side from me.
And 2 light side from me.
5 light side and 2 dark side.
Roy, I have a small amount of bad news. Your obligation has indeed kicked off. Now, I'd like to, just because we've never actually gone into how we work obligation with Roy.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
So imagine 2 very, very careful parents sitting there with, 8 arms between them, looking at their small boy, trying to figure out how to stop him from getting into trouble. And then every once in a while they'd go over to Roy and they'd add an extra protocol. And most of these protocols, Roy has either gotten past or Tychus has ignored. But there are many, many, many protocols added by extremely concerned parents. Roy, you now have a protocol that regards people that you regard as friends getting trapped into small places.
I got friends in small places, guys.
If we want to have a very small flashback, there is an image of a very small Tychus bar being hauled out of some vent somewhere and someone going, oh, we should do something about that.
Alright, so for everybody who is listening to the alarm and looking around, you might suddenly notice Roy goes stiff as a pole. He doesn't really have eyes, but you can tell that whereas he was paying attention to things beforehand, he's staring into the middle distance, as they would put it for a movie scene. And just going, affirmative, negative, affirmative, affirmative, as he's processing what the situation is at the moment and how this is going to affect what he currently has to do, which is fall straight over to Bar and hug him.
Oh. Just in case you're not binging this show, and if not, why not? Just to set the quick scene, you are currently in what may or may not be the captain's quarters. You have certainly found someone who appears to be the captain with a bottle of whiskey who is very, very dead as something has hit him. And you can see what used to be a hidden chamber, you suspect, because there's a great big hole in it. And you can see through the hole that the target of your quest, which is this crystalline Hutt statue, and also some wicked-looking machine. A red light is flashing, and there is an alarm. It is making a loud and irritating beeping sound, and every once in a while it is saying, "Warning, warning, hostiles detected."
Okay. Kay is ignoring the alarm and ignoring the Hutt statue, and he's walking very slowly over to the mechanical wheel.
Currently it's a hole, so you'll need to walk over to it. You'll need to open the latch, if you see what I mean.
Okay, well, that is something I'm going to be doing.
Just stick your arm in and find the handle?
Very slowly stick my arm in, try and find the handle on the other side.
So as you reach your arm in,
Yes.
grab the handle, you can see the recessed button as well pop out,
Yes.
so you now know where the button is, if you need it on the other side.
Kay is doing a very good impression of Indiana Jones with a bag of sand right now, just to know, so you know exactly how quickly he's moving. He's very deliberately, very slowly moving towards this thing.
You unclick the door and step well back very carefully. You do notice, because you are taking the caution, that there is a wire in front of the door.
What do you see, Kay?
A trap. Could you help me with this?
Aye, certainly.
Difficulty 2.
Roy, while I'm having a look at this, those voices from up the corridor, could you just keep an eye out and make sure we're not going to get bushwhacked?
We need to get out of here now. This is not a good place to be.
Can I ask a question as well? How small is this secret compartment?
It's the size of a normal household bathroom.
So not quite restrictive. It wouldn't maybe set off Roy.
No.
Jolly good.
It's not a vent or a tunnel or a funnel. It's a small closet-sized, bathroom-sized area.
Okay.
Can I ask another question? The hole. Does it look like it was generated from someone shooting into the compartment or something shooting out of the
I can
compartment?
tell you that.
You would have to examine it carefully,
Okay.
but it's quite a large hole.
Well, it's large enough for someone to stick their arm in so far, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I check, with this obligation, has it kicked in already? As in, I am now in, he's in a small space, whatever the process is that happens is happening? Or is this I want you to be aware that this could now kick in at any point, and you and I, the GM, will decide when it activates.
You're now very worried that Tychus will suddenly run off and get stuck into something small. He'll stick his head into the oven any minute now, if you see what I mean.
Stuck through some railings.
Yeah, he's going to get stuck in some railings, pan on his head. He's going to get trapped in a small space. So you are on alert. So it's kind of kicked in, but it hasn't fully kicked in. It's like you're a paranoid parent.
Okay. I can. I can picture that now. Okay.
Imagine RoboCop as a nanny, basically. That this protocol 271 has flashed up.
All right, but it's at level 1 now. Level 3 would be I grab him and dive out the nearest wall.
Yes.
But level 1 is I'm a bit worried. Okay, yeah. I'm going to put it at a level 1, 2, and 3. We're currently at level 1. If you think something should be activating and raising it up,
yeah,
that gives you some control over it, and it's not just me going, well, I'm going to dick on you guys because it seems I should be doing something stupid by now.
I know it's not great, but we can't leave just now. Look, it's right there. If we leave without that and it's been in our sight, then we're going to get shot, or worse, things are going to happen to Mum and Dad. We're right here. Let's just grab this, and then we can get out. Now, you keep an eye out. Let me sort this out. Come on, 455. Get your torch over here and get those wee little grabby arms. Give me a bit of a hand.
Difficulty 2 roll.
Can I blag a boost die for 455?
You go on.
Thank you. So that's 2 yellow and a green, 2 purple and a blue.
While he's rolling that, just once again, I'm going to move my force power back into my agility.
Okay.
4 success and 1 advantage.
Okay, you easily unhook it. It's cunningly hooked the wrong way round, so if you tried to just undo it, it would have gone off. It's been looped round as a little pulley. If you want to spend your advantage, you may have a improvised explosive device and a tiny pulley to add to your attack.
Okay, what is the IED? Is it a frag grenade that's been set? Is it like it presses the button on a microwave filled with spoons?
It's a small explosive device that would take you off at the knees.
Point front towards enemy. Cool.
Roy's going to take Bar's advice and step to keep an eye on the door. He's also going to have a slightly panicked moment where he drops the bag of creatures and very hurriedly rips open the bag and lets the legomorphs out, and the same with the one in his leg. He's suddenly a little nervous about them being shoved in a confined space, oddly enough.
They scramble. The one on your leg, however, is now on your shoulder. It's just like as you go to remove it from your leg, it crawls up your arm, licks your arm a bit, and is now on your shoulder. The others have scarpered, but the one that you have essentially shoved into yourself has decided that you're warm and safe.
I'm going to name you 3B. Can we see the people coming yet?
You can't. You can see some lights flashing, but no one actually seems to have seen you. Remember that this is a very large labyrinthine structure, and can be constantly reconfigured as well. So there's that going on.
Okay.
The room is now accessible. I believe that Kay wants to do something.
Tychus, you realise that Kay isn't that bothered that he just nearly blew himself up. He's not really focused on the explosive, the trap. He noticed it, he pointed you in the direction, and he hasn't taken his eyes off the wheel.
So to describe the wheel fully, it's in a square rectangular frame, which is quite clearly a carrying case, because the wheel itself looks like it should freestand, even though it's got no stands, if you see what I mean. It is a gyroscope style design, so you have one very, very large round structure, which is spiky on one side, black metal. Then there's another rim, then there's another rim, and there's several rims that are all, at the moment they're all flat, but they're quite clearly on some sort of pivot. You can see where they are pivots. In the middle, there is a disc. At the heart of the disc, there is a chunky crystal. It looks like it would have been a bright blue, and someone has put black ink at the top, and the ink has slowly but surely seeped down. And there are cracks at the black bits of the crystal as well. It doesn't so much smell, you know, that kind of clean room smell where things are just very kind of
like sterile.
It's exactly as if everything had been burnt very recently. And to answer the doctor's question, as you look into the room, the blast clearly went outwards. But there seems to be some scoring from either side. So the scoring on the outside and on the inside of the door.
Okay, what in Christ's name is that thing?
That's the thing that killed everybody. He takes a step forward.
Also, the statue is gorgeous. The Hutt statue is a beautiful thing of crystalline sculpture. It's not glass, it's clearly some sort of gemstone that's been very, very carefully and beautifully worked. It is a muscular looking Hutt. I mean, none of you are really attracted to Hutt.
It's a buff Hutt.
He looks strong and kind of, you know, for a Hutt, it looks like
Hercules.
You've got to remember that this particular Hutt is their equivalent of the Messiah.
Hutt Hogan.
He is Hutt Hogan.
oh yeah!
The Incredible Hutt. Yeah.
And it's not overly exaggerated, but for those of you who can understand how, that other species and the attractiveness of other species, you sit there going, yeah, no, I get that. If you say,
let me roll out appreciation for Roy again,
yes,
shall
please.
I'd hook that.
we? Is it education?
I believe it's education. If you want to make education rolls for the statue,
What difficulty, please?
that'll be 2.
That's one failure.
Is that a failure to appreciate it?
That's a real failure to appreciate it.
What a gaudy, tacky-looking thing this is. It must just be worth it for the hefty value of the crystal.
As you're all lost in his pecs, I'm just there going, that is one heavy lump of rock.
To describe the rest of the thing, it's got a very thick golden pedestal, and then clicked into there is a hover sled, because this thing looks heavy.
Okay, so I haven't really paid much attention to the big heavy reason we're here, but the wheel, you say it's in a case. Is it like a suitcase size thing or a briefcase? Or
It's not. It's a door frame style thing. If you think more, actually, an appropriate Star Wars, if you think of a carbonite freezing,
got you.
it would be a 2-man job. There isn't a hover sled for this, unfortunately, or at least not one you could see. But it would be more like a stretcher. You'd have to move the frame.
Okay.
The wheel itself is about 4 foot across in total, and you know that it's meant to be dropped onto things.
Yes.
When you say that this is the weapon,
This is the bomb.
right? How do we disable, destroy, disarm? What do we do? Could we remove that crystal from the middle of it, put it in with the other ones that we're going to blow, and then bang? Or what do we need to do? How do we stop this?
Kay takes another step forward. I think we need to remove the crystal.
Okay.
I don't think we can explode the crystal.
Without it causing what it did at Vince Fort, stroke,
Yes.
wherever else.
I think what we need to do is remove the crystal and then get it off this planet.
Okay.
He's slowly walking forward towards it.
Right. Well, do you want to have a look and see if you can remove that? Doc, do you want to help me out getting the huge slug thing on the sled? Roy, that shout in front of the corridor, anything in sight?
Nope.
Just as he says that, you see a human run past you holding a rabbit.
Yep.
He's ran the other way around, so he's not even looked at you. He's just got a rabbit in one hand, and they're running in the opposite direction. They're not paying any attention to you. They're dealing with something else.
Do you think Bracker asked them to bring a big bag of rabbits and we've just made it really difficult for them?
Filed under not my problem.
There's a bit of a tussle in Roy as he looks back at you guys. What can he see of Bar and everybody? Can he see them going into the secret room? Or?
So you can kind of see the secret room just if you tilt your head to one side and then kind of extend, and then tilt your head again and extend a little bit more, and then just as your head's almost about to fall off, you can kind of see them, but then you have to reorient to see everything else normally. Oh, now that you're in it, the other thing that's in this secret room is a ship's console.
Okay.
If you think of it as a bathroom where the bath would be,
Yes.
that's where the ship's console is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try and get as close as possible to the wheel.
Just be careful on that. I mean, they've already had one booby trap.
Yeah.
Just keep your eyes open. Give me a shout if you see anything
I'm
else.
wondering why this went off. Because there's no reason why it would have.
Might not have been that. It might have been another booby trap.
Right, so yourself and the doctor grab the hover sled, start to move it, and then there's essentially what they've done is they've gotten the power supply the wrong way around. Someone very hurriedly has clicked it in. It's obviously come loose when they've moved it, or something is shaking it loose. They've reconnected it, and they've got it the wrong way around. So you know from experience, all you have to do is reach in with the right tool and reverse the polarity.
Okay. Ugh, typical. This, I say pointing at the sled, is exactly the kind of cowboy enterprising we've come... Right, I'm going to need to sort out this sled, Doc. Do you want to have a look at the back of this door, see if there's any more booby traps, see if that maybe was what went off, or maybe help Kay out with that whole horror thing? I'll just need a minute, because I'm not leaving without this. One way or another, we've got to destroy that bomb. But if we go back without this... 2 objectives. Right, I'm going to be on this. Y'all just sort yourselves out.
Can you roll a force die for me, please?
A dark side point.
Can you move one of my dark side points to the light side, please? As you examine the mechanism, the tool you have just isn't quite right, and you feel something inside you. This is a tiny little push. You just make a tiny little push because you know where it is, and you push too much, and there is a click, and there is a whir, and the base of the statue unlocks and a tray comes out. As this happens, if Kai had the urge to touch the crystal, would you resist?
Well, I don't think I think he needs to pick it up. His plan is to get it out of here. So.
You put your hand on the crystal.
Yeah.
As Tychus stares at this drawer, which contains a beautiful jewelled box and a long tube-like weapon device.
I think I figured this out.
There is a whoosh. Party, you find yourselves, everyone except Roy. Sorry, Roy. You find yourselves in a mindscape. There is a flash, and you all see Kay in an empty village, somewhere not this world, sad, angry, lost. The look on his face looks like he's lost everything. And he goes to a bar. There are no people in the bar, not anymore. And Kay sees a half-empty bottle on the bar and starts to drink. We flash to Tychus, and Tychus is sitting in a spaceport with his best friend in the world, Carween. And Carween has this massive grin on his face, and he's just about to get onto his spaceship. And Tychus is grinning, Tychus is smiling, Tychus is happy. His face looks like he's very happy, but his eyes tell a different story, because he's saying goodbye to someone and he's doing his best to pretend. We get another flash, and we see the good doctor, his face sweat covered, and we see a clock slowly moving, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, as he is in surgery, desperately trying to save a life. And then the next thing we see is the doctor putting his hands on his patient's eyes and closing them, as no matter how hard he fought, he has failed. But there is then another flash. You're all in some sort of brightly illuminated chamber. It's a very bright chamber. As you look more of it, there seems to be writing on the side. As you look at each other, you all look older.
Does my experience of this compare to the sharing of lifetimes a few?
Yeah, it's
a while ago?
the same sort of weirdness, but you've never had this exact sort of weirdness before.
Right, okay.
Well, that was weird.
What in the criffing car is going on here?
But I don't know where we are.
Where's Roy?
Roy's back where we were.
There's another person in the room. It's not just you three.
Look towards it.
It's robed. As each of you look at the mysterious stranger,
Yes.
Tychus sees a 2-armed basilisk. Kai sees a human.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor sees a Syrian.
I draw Clementine, assuming that she's still with me.
You reach for a weapon and suddenly you have one.
All right, Sonny Jim, speak.
I hold up my hand to 1 second. Who are you? Why are we here?
It seems I can do what you request by doing what you request. I shall speak, but your question lacks meaning without context. You are here because years ago, one member of your species fell in lust, love, or business arrangement with another member of your species. Certain inalienable facts occurred, and thus you are here. Next question.
If Kay or the doc look at Tychus, they can see he's starting to get the same furrowed forehead he had in the bar shortly before he just shot Garrett Tane in the face.
Incidentally, whilst Kay's hand is still up to hold you from putting a stun shot in, it's gone a bit lower.
And as you all look very confused, there is another flash, and you start seeing visions. The first vision you see is the face of Garrett Tane, kneeling down in fealty, looking up to another man or another humanoid figure. It steps out of the shadow. It is a Zabrak. It has red skin, black design, and is holding a glowing weapon which is ignited on both ends. There is another flash. We see a young boy outside a moisture farm, staring into the sky, looking at twin suns as they set. There is another flash. We see a young man desperate at the controls of a spaceship, trying to avoid some sort of horrible creature trying to absorb his craft. There is another flash. There is a woman. She is young, she is fierce, and she is shouting and she is shouting. There is another flash, and we see a space station. Not just a space station, but a massive black moon-sized craft. And it vomits forth a powerful laser which is black as night. And as it hits the world that it's targeting, the world does not explode. Your next vision is of a world in chains, manacled down to the Imperial yoke. And then the same image of this distant space station, this distant moon, fires again and again. More chains, more chains. And then the vision breaks. And you're back in the room, as it were. Roy, you have experienced nothing, by the way.
Was there any passage of time? Were they very quiet for a period of time? Or
They've been quiet for about 20 seconds. You're paranoid enough to pop in, so you can see them just looking a bit. As the effect breaks, you can see them all looking a bit. So you can be in the room whilst they're all shaking their heads.
Okay. I'm going to go stand over with Bar and explain that there's a guy running around with a Legomorph with him, but I think he's alright.
Ed, do I still have the crystal in my hand?
You've not got it in you're touching it, so yes.
Right.
It's more blue now.
Hey, shiny!
It's still a little bit of black, and it's still cracked, but it's more blue now.
What just happened?
I can only assume drugs. There are drugs in the air. They're sending us peculiar. We need to get out of here. No. I'm going to get this hover sled working.
What happened over there?
There's a tray. It has a jeweled box and a tubular style device.
The weird Hutt statue has a secret. I've opened a secret compartment somehow. There's things in it.
Tychus.
I'm fixing this sled.
Tychus, this bomb would not have gone off without some sort of external force. Now, you said booby trap, but I think the fact that it's close to the sled has set it off. We know it affects people's minds. We know it affects how people think. This crystal is no longer tainted as it was when we first came into the room. Look, Tychus, look.
So what? What?
I don't know. What just happened over there?
So I was reaching in to click the power supply back to power up the sled,
yeah,
and I tripped a catch in there, and it popped out this drawer, and well, this weird box and this weird tubey thing.
What's in the box?
I tried to open the box.
So you go under the tray. It is a beautifully jeweled box. Put your hand on it. You try and find a catch.
How big is it?
It would fit in the palm of an adult male hand quite easily. It is the size of I hesitate to use the word puzzle box, but it's the size of a puzzle box. It is got a geometric pattern on all sides. And as you pick it up and try and find a catch, you find something. And again, that moment you had just a moment ago where you pushed,
yep,
you think there's the same sort of catch, but you're starting to suspect it's not really a catch.
Right. So this thing is locked, and it's right. So sometimes when I'm working,
yes,
I can feel with more than just my fingers. You know, pressure points, solder points.
Mom says he's special.
I think he is.
I can feel a catch with my brain.
Intuition.
Aye. Now I think I can push on it and open it, but that's what I did to open the drawer. So if I do that, we might have another moment.
What we did before cleared the blackness out of this crystal.
So
I don't know if that's relevant or if that's useful.
So go for it then.
Can I ask a question at this point? Because there's two crystals in this room. One of them's the Hutt statue. Is that looking any different?
That looks fine. It looks very pretty.
Okay, it's not the same kind of crystal. There's no obvious connection between the two kinds of crystal.
You would have to experiment to find out.
Right. Okay.
But it's not turned bright blue. It's not. I mean, it is glowing, but that's because there's ambient light. If you see what I mean, and there is light underneath it.
Okay.
So it is glowing, but without trying to do something to the physical crystal, you're not sure.
I glance back to where you are. The tube thing, and this is jumping a bit from conclusions, but the Zabrak, he had a weapon, didn't he?
Similar sort of design, yeah.
The crystal in the wheel, how's it held in?
That's a very good question, but essentially it's the way it's braced is integrated to the design of the circle.
Yes.
So it's like embedded like you would an amulet, like a gem in an amulet.
Right, I see.
So I need to know what you're doing first. Are you examining the crystal? Are you examining the cylinder? Or are you opening the box?
I'm staying near the crystal.
I've been watching both of these two just intently because that was a difficult experience that I'm trying to make sense for, but I would like to examine the crystal.
What are you doing? Like, by the way, you do remember that time, that surgery, it was the first time you lost someone.
Right, okay.
And you fought and fought and fought and couldn't save them. You remember that time. All the images you first had, you remember those times. What are you doing first? Are you examining the crystal, opening the cube, or playing with the cylinder, or playing with the wheel?
The wheel is the thing that's my reason for being here. I am standing right in front of it. I am still holding on to the crystal on the wheel, and at some point I'm going to want to remove it, but I don't know how yet.
So, do you want me to push on this catch then?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Doc? Roy?
The crystal's just done one thing. I don't want to make it do another thing.
Do you want me to hold the crystal? If you're all feeling a bit weird about it, I could hold it. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, quite a lot. We could land up like that guy on the wall.
I could hold it far away from you.
Well, it's attached to the wheel at the moment, so...
I think I'm going to push the catch.
Right.
And because if that happens again, and we make all of the black go out of this crystal and it goes fully blue, then we might be able to... Because you were saying...
I think it's the black that kills people.
So if we can make it go fully blue, then we might be able to get it out here safely, then Roy can carry it safely, and job's a good one.
Potentially, yes.
I push with my brain.
Push with your brain. The cube turns into a hexagon style. It like transforms. It clicks and clicks and clicks and clicks and turns itself around. And now it's kind of more of a hexagonal style. It's a D12 basically. Light comes out of the top of it, and
What colour light?
it's blue and also yellow. And you see a humanoid figure in ancient-looking robes.
I drop it.
You drop it on the floor. It's still going, and a voice says, "I am the former Jedi Master and Master of the Ardu Aspect. These are my forbidden texts, as they call them. You know that already. You come here seeking knowledge. Enjoy." Then it cuts out.
Have we just found wizard porn?
I know. I was exactly thinking the same thing. No, it's serious. Just like delete browsing history if discovered, you know. It's just like,
Forbidden texts.
Mom, if you're reading this, you know.
And on that note, will the players discover the mystery, or will they, in fact, delete all the forbidden texts in case their mother finds out? We'll find out next on the next episode of Force Majeure. Thanks for listening.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for the rest of this season is Superpower Cool Dude by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. A number of our ambient sounds and sound effects are provided by Sirenscape, because epic games deserve epic sounds. For episode-specific credits for music, please see the show notes, and also the credits page of our website at forcemajeurepod.com. If you like the show and want to support us, there's a few ways you could do that. The first is by rating and reviewing wherever you find us, be it iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever. That helps other people find us and lets us know that we're telling the sort of stories that you enjoy hearing. We do have a Patreon page at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod, and also a Ko-fi account at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod if you've got some change burning a hole in your pocket and want to throw it our way. We appreciate all the support. We do have social media presences. The easiest way to find us is on Twitter at ForceMajeurePod. We do also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page and a Discord server. Links to all of these are contained in the show notes. Come along and talk nonsense with us. We always like to hear from fans of the show. And until next time, may the Force be with you.